there's a non-stop flight from Memphis to Seattle.
Non-stop, what is that, 5 hours?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
That's not bad.
It would change everything.
There's not a non-stop from Nashville?
Okay, but that's a drive on top of the. At that point, I'd rather add in the hour-and-a-half flight.
Okay.
It's just as easy.
All right.
Pick your inconvenience.
I got you.
I actually didn't know there was one from Nashville.
Yeah, whenever we fly out, we try and look at surrounding airports. So Nashville and St. Louis, for the most part.
Okay, so that goes back to our conversation. Sure would be swell if
would.
there was a train from Memphis to Nashville.
Would.
Yeah, there is a nonstop. There's a Delta nonstop.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
But I mean, that would put you would have to get off show, drive the 3 hours there.
Yeah, and I would have to not do show. It's a 7:25. There's only one.
Well,
there's only going to be one, and it's a 7:25 a.m.
Well, no, you get all. I would assume the way we did it, because we did it for Hawaii when we flew out. We didn't fly out of Memphis. We flew out of Nashville. We drove up the day before. Hotel room. Now we're talking about added costs and whatnot. Hotel room, flight, and then when we flew back, hotel room again. So, yes, financially it might not be ideal. What was the song?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
You're welcome.
It's a song called Effed Up and Broke. It's by Mr. MF Tat, who is a wonderful man that Chris and I met on Beale Street, like our 5th week here in Memphis. And we have his whole album. And every time it comes up, every time it comes up, we have physical copies. No, he used to help Chris. He helped Chris out with a story once, and then he used to work the door at BB King's. And for the longest time, he was like our coolest Memphis hookup. Like, we'd have friends come into town and be like, we know someone, and we would take them to BB King's, and he would like let us in. So I hope Mr. MF Tat is doing well. I haven't seen him in a minute, but yeah, whole album.
Do you need the whole album?
Yeah, Mr. MF Tat on that MF track too. That's the name of the album. What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, March 25th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. I am in mourning over JuJu Watkins' ACL tear. But also, it's a Grizzlies game day. A very important week begins for the Memphis Grizzlies tonight in Salt Lake City, Utah. Mike Wallace will join us about 20 minutes in. We'll talk about the final 3 weeks of the regular season, Jaws hamstring, Brandon Clark's season-ending injury, how things look for the Grizzlies in the Western Conference standings. Then former Memphis Tiger Will Coleman joins us on Tuesdays. He joins us today. We'll talk about the Tigers' season, their loss to CSU in the first round, where they go from here. Transfer portal is up and running already. Plus, his former head coach, Josh Pastner, has a new job. So we'll get into all that with Will. We'll do a little TV Tuesday. I am behind on everything, so hopefully CJ watched something. It's Tuesday. You know what we say. Take my knee, JuJu. Take it.
Your knee's not any good.
Take it. You're right. It's better than the alternative.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled,
Yeah,
right?
you got triple. I had went through that for it. When I was in Portland.
You had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about those. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You've coached a lot of different versions of the SEC, and obviously there's never been one deeper than this. What's it like been coaching in this?
The reason for the league being so good is the commitment. Commitment to coaching, commitment to facilities, commitment to the NIL across the board. There is not anybody in our league that's not investing in all those things.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Got her on the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, ay. Let's have a little fun now. Ay. I wanna let it all out. Ay. That's what it's all about. Ay. Ay. 'Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? I am back in Memphis. It is good to be back. It wasn't easy. It's never easy. CJ ended up delayed for 4 hours in the Salt Lake City airport yesterday, and I thought to myself, if I don't make it home, CJ's never going to let me travel ever again.
No,
Ever.
I had that exact conversation with the missus. She said, "Oh, when's Jessica get back? She needs to be back tomorrow, which is today. And if she isn't, I will go and get her from wherever the hell she's at. I'm not doing this
Oh,
anymore."
that would have been nice. A nice little drive to Salt Lake City. We could have stopped, watched the Grizzlies
Is
Jazz game.
Is Salt Lake City the evil airport?
I
with
think
the
Salt
evil
Lake City is
horse?
the best. No, that's Denver. That's
Okay,
my
all
hometown.
right,
I
okay.
actually think if you're going to be stranded in an airport, the greatest airport to be stranded in is the Salt Lake City airport. They have floor-to-ceiling windows. Every view is a mountain view in the Salt Lake City airport. And if you squint, you can almost pretend that you're like at a ski resort, but then you're reminded that you're trapped in an airport because your plane has been delayed for 4 hours. It was a mechanical issue yesterday, and it is funny because like 6 months ago, if I had a 4-hour delay because of a mechanical, I would have been kind of frustrated and very urgent to get in the plane. Like, fix the plane, get me in the plane, get me in the sky, get me home. And instead, yesterday, this was the first time really since, the incidents that I've experienced a delay like that. Take your time. Do what you need to do. Whatever it is. Can I help? I don't need to help. I can't help. I don't have any degree
hold
or
a
experience in that.
wrench.
You know what I can do? Give you my patience. Give you my patience. As long as we get in the friendly skies and you captain are rested and the plane is working, no harm, no foul. And I landed at 9 and I was thrilled because I was gonna land just in time to watch, yes.
Can you drink in Salt Lake City airport?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
I had
all right.
2 glasses of champagne.
All right.
So again, stuck in the Salt Lake City airport, I had a $12 voucher from Delta,
champagne.
so that was nice. The Delta Club, free. That's the
Okay.
perk of sitting in the club.
Oh.
They actually, okay, well, if you want to get into it,
I
the
do.
Delta Club in the Salt Lake City airport has a patio. So I sat on a half indoor, half outdoor
Oh, my
space,
goodness.
looking at the mountains, drinking a glass of champagne, liking every tweet about text threads planning war-like things, and then 4 hours passed by, and I was able to watch a lot of the women's games, which was great. But I wanted to watch the USC-Mississippi State game when I got home. And so I was thrilled because I was going to land right in time, pop it up on my phone, catch the beginning of the game. Talia von Oelhoffen hits a 3 to get us started. I'm like, yes, Tri-Cities represent. Never forget, Chiawana High School. Kiki's playing well. Everything's going well. I'm picking up my suitcase. I'm putting it in the car. And JuJu Watkins is on the ground. And I was like, oh, no, please. Anything but JuJu Watkins being hurt right now. And JuJu is so tough. JuJu Watkins is like stupid tough. We just watched her over the weekend play through a wrist injury, play through an ankle injury. She stays in the game. She is that team. And so when you see JuJu Watkins in the amount of pain that she was clearly in when she went down within 5 minutes in that game against Mississippi State last night, you know something is devastatingly wrong. And then you watch her have to get carried off the court, and you're just thinking, please, please don't let it be her ACL. Please don't let it be her ACL. Please don't let it be her ACL. But we all knew. It was her ACL. Like, if you have eyes and you have watched the sport, you knew most likely that JuJu Watkins had suffered a season-ending ACL injury. It was confirmed last night. She will undergo surgery. She will miss the rest of this tournament. She will miss probably all of next season as well. And this just absolutely blows. Like, losing JuJu Watkins, not just from the USC perspective, this changes everything for USC. They more than likely are not a Final Four team without JuJu Watkins on the court, but this changes the entire tournament. Like, JuJu Watkins is the face of the women's tournament. I would argue JuJu Watkins is the face of March Madness. You can make your case if you want for Cooper Flagg on the men's side of things, but I think JuJu Watkins is one of the most famous faces in all of basketball right now. The bun is everywhere. She has billboards, she has commercials, she has all the NIL deals. She is the moment, and she has so perfectly taken the baton from Caitlin Clark and just continued to engage new fans of the game, old fans of the game, all the eyeballs in the world on JuJu Watkins, and now she's out of it. And it reminds you that this can happen in an instant. Sports are horrible, terrible, fragile things, and all your hopes and dreams can vanish quickly. Now, the comeback will be awesome to watch. I saw Paige Beckers had a career high last night, so if you want an immediate example of how a player can come back from this injury and still be the best version, if not an even better version of what they were before it, the blueprint is there. But right now, like, this is horrible.
Yes.
Like, I just feel sick.
It's tough. I think the Kyrie Irving injury when he was at Duke immediately comes to mind, where it's postseason play. This player is set to do something pretty special. We all can sense it, and then they're ripped away because of injury. It sucks for them, absolutely. But for me, the fan, it really hurts me. I wanted to see JuJu go up against a Paige. Yeah. That we were on a collision course, Elite Eight collision course for a Final Four trip. JuJu versus Paige and UConn. And now we don't get that storyline anymore. That makes me sad, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to JuJu, speedy recovery. She's going to come back stronger than ever. I feel confident saying that because of what she is, the type of competitor that she is, and we can all see the work ethic and all of that. But for me, somebody who's not playing, like, I want to see good stuff on the court. I just want to see intriguing matchups. I want to see basketball played at the highest level, and JuJu plays it at the highest level, and those ladies for UConn play it at the highest level. I needed desperately to see JuJu versus UConn, and now we're not going to see it. Not because they got bounced by Mississippi State, and not because maybe they lost to whoever they're facing in the Sweet 16. No, but because of untimely injuries. It sucks when the face of your tournament, the face of your league, the face of your thing is no longer in it. But listen, this speaks to the depth of the women's game right now. Betts is still in it. UCLA is still in it. You still have UConn, the greatest women's basketball program.
Just wrap up the trophy and give it to Dawn Staley in South Carolina
Dawn Staley in South Carolina coming through. Kim Mulkey, I thought Florida State was going to beat LSU. I was like, yeah, I got it. I got all these cool little stats. Florida State has the leading scorer in the NCAA on the court. They've got it. It's a one-possession game. It's like a 1 point, maybe a 2 point game at half. Then LSU, Johnson, flip a switch and say, "No, y'all are done scoring for the rest of this game, and we're going to put up 100 on you."
They lost by 40.
And that, Jessica, that means that LSU outscored them by 40 in the second half because it was a 2-point game.
51-32.
I think, what did Florida State score in the third quarter? I think they scored 6 points in the third quarter. It was just an amazing onslaught of, "Nah, we're done toying with you guys. Get the hell up off my court." It was incredible to watch. So there's still really fun teams and really fun players in this tournament. It's not JuJu though, and that matters.
Yeah, I will say, speaking of fun games, fun tournaments, the best game of the tournament so far, men's or women's, did happen yesterday on the women's side. The Maryland-Alabama game was one of the best basketball games that I have ever watched. I watched that on the plane, and shout out to plane TVs, because they have gotten so much better and more consistent, and being able to sit and watch a basketball game on an airplane is one of my favorite activities. This game ruled. Maryland was down 17 in the third quarter, comes back primarily thanks to some really clutch shooting from Sarah Tibiasu for Maryland. She hit a three that tied it with about 17 seconds left in regulation, sends it to overtime. But the best moment from that game, Alabama was down 3 in the first overtime. 2 of their starters have fouled out. They're down 96-93 with just seconds left. And Sarah Ashley Barker gets fouled on a 3. And up until that point, Sarah Ashley Barker was going off. She had 30 plus at this point. But she was 4 of 8 from the free throw line. She had not been great. Shooting 50% at the line. Steps up, 3 free throws, will send it to a second overtime. Nails them. Just drains. Free throw, free throw, free throw. Tie game, sends it to second overtime. Barker was unbelievable. Had a career high 45 points in that game. 4th most points ever scored in an NCAA tournament game. The 111-108 finish for Maryland as they end up with the win. 2nd most points ever combined to be scored in an NCAA tournament game. It was an all-time classic. Shout out to Maryland. Maryland has given us the 2 best games of the tournament, because the men gave us the only buzzer beater that we have seen with Derek Queen's shot, and the women gave us truly just an epic basketball game. It was awesome. I'm sorry if you did not watch it, because it was great.
And Maryland shouldn't be there.
Yes.
Maryland should have lost to Norfolk State in the first round. The way that they gave the Spartans of Norfolk State that short whistle in the third quarter, I'll never forgive the NCAA for allowing. They wanted Maryland to advance. Coach Vickers was right. They needed to put more respect on the Spartans' name, but Maryland got through. And look at them. Overtime. 2 overtimes against Alabama. So I'm watching the ass whooping take place on the LSU Florida State. It's like, oh, okay, Alabama's got this. Wait a second, they don't. And so I catch the 2 overtimes for Alabama and Maryland. It was high pressure basketball played at a really, really good level. And it was enjoyable to sit down and watch. And I was able to flip back and say, oh, LSU still beating the hell out of them chicks. Let me go back to this game. It's good. This is fun. When you put it on TV, they had so many arguments and they had to fight so hard about, hey, put us on TV like you do the men. When you put them on TV, you allow for us to experience the women's game. And you allow for the women's game to continue to grow just by making sure that it's on TV, readily available where we can watch it on ESPN and the ESPN family of networks.
On a Monday. It carries over. All I want to do is you get a hangover from Sunday. But then I woke up and I was like, oh, we still have games to watch. Now, granted, the women's Sweet 16, if you think the men's Sweet 16 is chalky, the women's Sweet 16, other than Maryland's the only 4 seed represented, because all the 5 seeds had huge wins from Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Kansas State. And Kansas State is who, I almost said Memphis, who USC will face in the Sweet 16. But other than that, it's your 4 number 1 seeds, UCLA, South Carolina, Texas, USC. It's your 4 number 2 seeds, UConn, TCU, Duke, NC State. And it's your 4 number 3 seeds, Notre Dame, LSU, Oklahoma, North Carolina. So your best teams are still in there, which sets up a really exciting Sweet 16 Elite 8.
I tried to do a 2014 parlay.
How'd that go for you? 24 teams?
I was going to take the top 3 seeds on the men's side. So that's 12 teams right there. I was going to take the top 3 seeds on the women's side to win their first round games, the round of 64 games. Tried to do that. Like $10 would have paid me 4. I was like, okay, I can't do this. I was taking them straight up also. No money line picks, just straight up. It's like, okay, that's just not a smart bet then.
No.
If $10 is only going to win me 4 on a 2014 parlay, no, I'm not doing that. But it was because I had that thought because on the men's side, it's like I don't see anybody knocking one of these teams off the 13 through 16. I just don't see it happening. And lo and behold, it didn't happen on the men's side. And I knew on the women's side it wasn't happening. Those chicks won in the first 3 seeds, all what is that? 3 times 4, all 12 of them. Really, really good at basketball. You're not going to knock those off unless you have somebody special or unless something crazy happens where everybody's top 6 players get in foul trouble early and you have to sit them down, right? So just the depth needs to continue to grow in the women's game before we can see some of these more prominent upsets, before we get a 10 seed, 12 seed, 13 seed advance into a Sweet 16 or Elite 8. But for now, give me the top 3 seeds because that's going to be great. Give it to me.
Well, don't worry. We don't have to take a break from basketball because it's a Grizzlies game day. Grizzlies, Jazz.
Taking a break.
They've been off for 3 days. I was really looking forward to seeing the injury report for this one until I wasn't. Jump scare. Somehow got bigger.
Wait, who's out?
Jaw's still out.
Okay.
After 3 days, really was hoping for that doubtful designation to creep back up. It's been a minute, but still out with a hamstring strain. Somehow Marvin Bagley got concussed. 3 days in Los Angeles.
What are they doing in practice?
I'm unclear. I don't know. Maybe he tried to hike to the Hollywood sign and like hit his head on a tree.
Think it happened outside of practice?
I don't know, CJ. They were off for 3 days.
I mean, but they're practicing. I would assume they're practicing all 3 of those days.
I bet they had at least 1 day off.
Why would you give them any time off?
To relax, to recoup.
To relax?
Go to a nice
you
dinner
relax.
in LA.
Winners get to relax.
Go to Nobu.
You guys it's crunch time. It's down the stretch here. There's no Brandon Clark.
Wolf.
You can do that after we practice for 5 or 6 hours. What's the NBPA stance on how long you can practice? Because I'm hitting that number, and I'm trying to go
sprints
over.
on the beach.
Listen, maybe he was doing that. Conditioning, running sprints on the beach.
Listen,
A wave hit him, and he fell face first.
I'm a clumsy gal. Like, I hit my head regularly where I think, ooh, I could have gotten a concussion. Yeah, I know. I'm short, but I hit my head on a lot of corners. I need to like baby-proof my house, if we're being honest. I hit my head on
in your own
regular
house.
things in my own house.
Not random corners. Corners that you might be unfamiliar. You know the corners.
I know their address. I know their middle name.
You hit your.
I know their social security number.
You're sober and alert.
Yeah.
You're not half asleep.
I'm always sleepy. I'm an EP girl.
You might not always be.
Half asleep. I might be sleepwalking. You're correct.
You might be concussed.
I could be asleep right now.
You might be concussed.
I could also be concussed. So I never know how people happen to get their concussions.
When's the last time you hit your head on something?
Like a week ago, and I hit it hard. I always think of John Stamos, R.I.P., who like apparently fell and hit his head. No, not John Stamos. Wrong dead person. Who was the guy from Full House who died? It's not John Stamos.
I don't know.
I'm on the wrong person.
Yes, you are.
What's his name?
I don't know.
No, that's really gonna bug me. Full House guy who died.
What a Google search.
Bob Saget.
Okay.
Wrong
That's
one.
how Bob Saget died.
Yes, Bob Saget fell, hit his
I
head,
thought it was
got
drugs.
back up, popped back up. This is like so Jesse coded. I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then had a brain bleed and died. That's what I'm afraid of when I hit my head on cabinets.
You hit it on. How's your head tall enough to reach a cabinet?
You'd be surprised.
I am.
They're everywhere.
I know cabinets are everywhere.
They are.
But you're too short for the door to hit your head.
That's what you would think.
Oh my God.
They sneak up on you. All right, we got to talk to Mike Wallace about all things Grizzlies. We'll get his take on Jaw's hamstring strain, what that means for him and the team as they start a very, 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 very important week. We'll call it a very important 3 weeks with just 3 weeks remaining in the NBA season. We'll get into all Grizzlies with Mike when we come back.
touched on this earlier, the panel here, about, what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Our fans have a huge impact on our ability to play to the level that we're striving for.
Drop off, Morant. Oh! Well, you wanted home crowd involvement.
I love those moments where you see our guys engaging in the fans, and the fans just get pumped up.
They are standing in FedEx Forum.
I would hate to be on the other side with the opposition when FedEx Forum's rolling. That's such an unbelievable relationship that our group has with our fans.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance, to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard, bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account.
Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
they knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by
And
WWE.
then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000. You think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Welcome back. It is a Memphis Grizzlies game day. It is a Tuesday, and that means it's time to catch up with Grind City Media senior editor Mike Wallace. Mike, how are you doing this Tuesday morning?
I'm doing great this Tuesday morning. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful day outside. You know, got a good workout yesterday. I'm going to try to get one in today, get some work done, and figure out if the Grizzlies can show up and put enough bodies together to win a basketball game again. If they can remember how to do that, this day will be great.
How do we think Marvin Bagley got concussed between the Clippers game and now and 3 days in Los Angeles?
Yeah, this is maybe the third or, maybe second or third time in recent memory that, an injury popped up on a day off. Like on Friday, how you get fired on your day off, right? You know what I mean? You're not supposed to get fired on your day off, man. You're not supposed to have these things happen when there's not a lot going on. But it could have been during the workout. Marvin Bagley is one of those play group guys. They're always trying to get extra runs in. He only played maybe 2 minutes in that Clippers game at the end, right? So I don't think anything happened in that game necessarily. He took a shot, took a three. I don't think he got fouled or anything. That's another mysterious one, man. We'll figure that out. You know, it's hard to see the team on the road for so long and me not be there with them so I
Right.
can unearth some of this stuff. But you know, at the end of the day, man, it's just hopefully they can get through whatever this little malaise is right now.
Of course, the more concerning piece of it is Morant continues to be out. And I know there was growing hope from fans and from those of us not on this road trip that perhaps with those extra days off, you would have at least seen an upgrade to doubtful, but that is not the case. And I know you're not on the road with the team, but what do we know at this point about this hamstring strain? Because when you think back, the last time we saw Morant play basketball, he was putting together his best performance of the season, 44 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then he was out on the second night of a back-to-back. That's not abnormal, especially as he's, dealt with the shoulder soreness all season, but then the shoulder soreness turns to a hamstring soreness, and then the soreness turns to a strain, and it's now been 2 games with the strain. How concerned are you?
I am concerned, just because, well, now that we're, if he's not going to play tonight in Salt Lake City, right? So there's one more game left on his road trip Thursday at Oklahoma City. You don't necessarily go from out to available in 36 hours, basically, with that kind of injury. So if he's available come Saturday, if there's a designation change in the injury report for Thursday's game where there's a doubtful or something like that, and then a questionable for Saturday, I'd feel a lot better. But the thing is, normally when a guy is out this long with one specific injury, there's usually a more detailed update. You know what I mean? We got the initial update, with Brandon Clark. That was some bad news right there, right? And this jaw hamstring is not as severe as that, obviously. But you would like to see, hey, this guy's week to week. When Jaren went down with the ankle issue, we found out immediately, or maybe a day or two later, that it was a week to week. This would have given us at least an update on what happened, when it happened, and what the team is thinking, other than going game to game and figuring out is Ja going to play or not. So, just the way this one has kind of been handled is a little differently than what the Grizzlies have done. But I also understand the sensitive nature of injuries when it comes to Ja Morant this season. It's really an eggshells type situation. So, yeah, I'm saying all that to say, I don't know what's going on with him. I wish I did. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But hopefully this isn't something that costs him significantly more time. Hopefully he'll be back on the shorter end.
Well, and like you mentioned, Brandon Clark, that was just a gut punch after a tough night in Los Angeles, a 3rd straight loss, and then to get the update on Saturday that Brandon Clark is out for the rest of the season. I'll ask you a twofold question. One, what this means for Brandon Clark. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but now having 2 season-ending leg injuries in the last 3 years between his Achilles tear and now season-ending PCL injury. We don't know what the treatment plan looks like, but would imagine more than likely there will be surgery involved. And so from a Brandon Clark, the player standpoint, what this means, and then also what this means for the team in the immediate future, because Brandon Clark was one of their best defenders, one of their most reliable contributors, and someone you would assume that would have continued to lean on and perhaps even lean on more heavily come postseason.
Well, I'll add a third layer to that, Jess, and that's Brandon Clark, the man, right?
Yeah.
The man that I've gotten to know over the 6 years that he's been in Memphis. And, some of the things that he's been able to do. You're involved with the mentoring program with the Grizzlies and the community engagement. Brandon was one of the first guys when he got here to lend his name to some of the activities that goes on in that mentoring space. And so that's pretty much my prism for a lot of these guys is what they do, obviously as players, but how I've seen them around their families and what they do even off the court. And, you root for Brandon because he's a good dude. Like, he is a really good, genuine guy. He always, no matter win, lose, or great game or not playing much, he's looking, with the energy and the enthusiasm. He looks forward to looking at you and answering your questions. He's never shied away from an interview in any kind of moment, as far as I'm concerned, that I've needed him for. And I hate to see this because I don't want to continue to cover him in the way of recovery, right? I want to cover him in a way of producing and him reaching his goals and the things that he's set out to do. So that's what makes it difficult first and foremost. This is 3 straight years now that he's been able to not finish a season or start a season on time because of injuries. The Achilles happened that ended his season 2 years ago. Last year, he delayed the start of his season because of the recovery. And now this year he can't finish the season because of this injury. And it just hurts me to see him have to go through that. But what I do know is that he fortified himself. He's shown the resilience already to continue to come back. And I have no doubt that he's going to push even harder this time to come back from that standpoint. So that's him as a man, as a young person, as a young leader, young vet in this locker room. What it means for the Grizzlies is that it puts them in an even more challenging frontline situation because there's just not a lot of athleticism, specifically defensively, in that front court. He was the best big defender switching out to the perimeter, even more so than Jaren Jackson Jr. because Brandon was able to do that without fouling. We saw him do it twice against Anthony Edwards in victories for the Grizzlies at the end of games. We saw him switch out on Kevin Durant and force a stop against Kevin Durant. The Grizzlies don't have bigs that can just continue to do that. So that's going to hurt them defensively in the perimeter, on the post to the perimeter from that standpoint in switches. And then it just takes one other guy out of the rotation. And now you have Santi, Jaren, you got to look at Jay Huff now. Lamar Stevens has a shoulder issue right now. I don't know how serious that's going to be for him. And you just get thin up front because there's beyond Zach and Jaren, you just have one more layer of guys that have kind of experience to come into games.
Not great. This is hot or not season, Mike, as we have 3 weeks left in the regular season. Like, you get teams that start to look hot and look like the better or best version of themselves, and then teams that just are not. And the Grizzlies aren't alone. Like, let's be perfectly clear. Over the last 10 games, the Grizzlies are 5-5. They have the best 10-game record between themselves, the Lakers, and the Nuggets. And the Nuggets have been playing without Jokic for a lot of those games, and they're 4-6 in their 10-game stretch. The Lakers played a bunch of games without LeBron James. They're 3-7. They got spanked by the Bulls over the weekend with LeBron back, and then they lost again last night in a game to the Magic. And so it's not as if the Grizzlies are alone, but they haven't been able to take advantage of perhaps some seeding opportunities. Neither have the Lakers or the Nuggets. But you look at this game against the Jazz, and you can't help but think, for a team with the toughest schedule moving forward, you have to win this one in Utah tonight. So what would you like to see from a out the gate look from this Grizzlies team, especially considering how this road trip has gone thus far?
I need to see Jaren dominate from the start. I need to see Scottie Pippen back in the starting lineup. No more tweaking with, let's figure out who's going to be the ball handler. Get to your sure-handed ball handler. That doesn't mean that Scottie won't have turnovers and mistakes, but at least he's comfortable in the role, right? You're not asking him to do something that he hasn't done all of his life from that standpoint. So establish Scottie as your starter tonight, at least for tonight. Santi usually has a pretty good productive game for whatever reason on the road in Salt Lake City. He's been one of the guys that's had some of his better shooting performances, I think, if I remember correctly. Santi. So you're going to need the others kind of guys to step up and give Jaren and Dez a chance to not have to do so much so early in games where they're running out of rhythm or steam or whatever towards the end of games. And you just got to have a start to finish kind of win. You need a win no matter how it comes.
Right.
But you have to do it a certain way to give yourself at least some semblance of, we're not just going to escape Salt Lake City with a win.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have a win that we can establish something and build upon it from there. And I think they're capable. But again, we saw the Utah Jazz when they came to Memphis the other week, they weren't a team that was just willing to go away. For whatever reason, they want to try to win at least a couple more games at home before they head to the lottery as the worst team in the West. You have to win this game if you're the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, and I believe they are without Markkanen, without Clarkson, and then a bunch of other guys are questionable.
Yeah,
they're at home. I know they were fined coming into that game against the Grizzlies. Yes, the Kyle Filipowski show. The other big white dude on the Utah Jazz show is how it's like the ongoing rotation there. But I'm with you. Just from a vibe standpoint, from a confidence setting standpoint, to reset that meter going into their game against Oklahoma City would be promising and give reason for optimism, because it's not just the Thunder. Then you look at that Lakers game Saturday. Then you look at the Celtics and the Warriors, and perhaps you might catch a break with the Celtics because Jason Tatum rolled his ankle in last night's game, and I know he was downplaying a bit after, but you never know how long an ankle injury will keep somebody out. So this is the time to start a momentous stretch for Memphis.
Yeah, and to pick up on your point there, Jess, this is also, now teams that have already done their homework, Elliot Perry loves to say that. That's one of my favorite sayings. Do your work early, right?
Yeah.
For teams that have already done most of their work early, now you're entering that stretch where over the last 9, 10, 11 games, you start buying time to rest guys to make sure they're healthy. You talked about, Oklahoma City's already clinched number one. they're not going to have to push any further. You never know. That might be a game Thursday where they might start, obviously Jalen Williams sat out the last game that they played. They're not going to just push their guys. They went to LA and beat the Clippers without Jalen Williams, which was one of their more impressive victories of the season. Then you go after that, obviously the Lakers come in. They're going to be desperate to get wins midway through that road trip. But, then you have, Boston. You just talked about Tatum. In that situation. And then Golden State, Steph Curry, he may still be out. There's no reason to rush him back. So as you go through these, Denver is not really pushing anymore. As you go through these next stretch of games right here, you have opportunities where some guys are going to be sitting out. And if you really want to get a higher seed, you have an opportunity, especially if Ja comes back from that standpoint. So the problem is you got to start beating some of these teams because they own the tiebreaker over you right now. So if everybody's sort of on that same ebb and flow where it seems like the Lakers, Denver, and the Grizzlies all win together and they all lose together, but you still end up tied with them and you lose the tiebreaker. So they got to start doing something to try to figure out how to separate themselves a little bit down the stretch.
And obviously if the Rockets start losing some games too, like they own the tiebreaker with you as well, so they sit in that same space. A player that we didn't mention that I did want to hit with you, Gigi Jackson, that was the other part of the Grizzlies injury report that rolled out. He's still on assignment with the Memphis Hustle and had thought perhaps with the Brandon injury that he could have made his return to the team. Do you think it's just a matter of the fact that they're on a long road trip and it's the idea that Gigi will rejoin the Grizzlies once they are back in Memphis? He had a 26-point game over the weekend for the Hustle, but what do you think they're waiting to see from Gigi or hoping he is able to develop upon in this short stint with the Hustle before coming back ultimately to the Grizzlies for this last stretch?
That's a great question. And, you start to wonder when you're in Gigi's situation and what the Hustle are set up to do right now, in terms of, it's strictly development the rest of the way. John Roser told me that they're out of the playoff mix in the G League right now. So the thing about it is that if you want Gigi to understand how to play a role and how to be specific in a power forward position where he needs to be, I don't know if the Hustle is the right assignment because he's going to shift back to being your number one scoring option, right? Yeah. And that's what he's not needed to be when he's with the varsity club, with the Grizzlies. He's needed to be more of a solid role defender type player. So, if they needed him tonight in Oklahoma City, there would be no reason why they wouldn't call him up. It's not a matter of logistics when it comes to that. It's just a matter of roster fit. But now I'm with you because I wonder now with Brandon out, with Lamar Stevens doubtful with the shoulder issue, you're really thin in that tweener, that 4 tweener spot, and Gigi plays that role. So, would it surprise me if he ends up joining the team for Oklahoma City, considering what the injury report looks like? No, it wouldn't. I don't think you just keep him there just to banish him from that standpoint. But again, there have been some things that, again, I'm not really around the team. Those are kind of the questions that, when I'm in my role and when I'm in my rhythm, I try to at least find out the answers, report the answers. I can at least shape how we are covering it from that standpoint. But it's I wish I knew a little bit more. I don't, but I do expect Gigi to be back in the fold at some point between the next 2 games by the time the Grizzlies get back, obviously.
All right, looking at the Western Conference standings, obviously we've spent a lot of time in the top half because that's where we hope the Grizzlies remain and not falling into the play-in tournament. But I look at a Phoenix Suns team, Mike, that won on a Devin Booker buzzer beater last night over the Bucks and have won 4 straight. And I think CJ and I both, we killed the Suns about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Are they alive?
They're in the 10 spot. They are in the 10 spot as of today. They are tied with the Mavericks, who did get Anthony Davis back yesterday, which is big for their salvaging of the most miserable season for a fan base in the history of seasons, perhaps.
Still think, if I'm remembering correctly, Dallas is super injured, so get them up out of here. I thought the Suns were done. I still do get them up out of here, and I thought the Trailblazers were going to jump both of them.
And they're still 3 games back at this point, despite having beaten the Grizzlies. So the Trailblazers are still 3 games out. It's Mavericks in 11th, Suns in 10th, and then the Suns are a half game behind the Kings in 9th, and the Kings are, and then there's a big jump between Kings and the Timberwolves. That's a 5-game split. So you're really talking about the 9-10 game. Are the Suns alive, though? And if the Suns are alive, is there any concern for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who would face the winner of that 9-10 game?
No, absolutely. The Thunder
I just wanted to see the answer.
Yeah. Hell no. Will be the answer from that
Emphasis
standpoint.
on the hell.
Yes.
Further emphasis on the no.
Yes. Now, I think the easier or the more prudent question would be, can the Thunder sneak up and get the 7 seed and win 2 play-in games?
You mean
yes,
the Suns?
they're more likely to do that, and then have to play the number 2. And if you're Thunder versus, if you're Suns versus Rockets, would they have a chance in that series? Absolutely, because again, the Rockets haven't done this before yet. They're still young, and that would be a Suns team that's finding its rhythm towards the end of the season, and you don't want to see them confident because at least you know they can score with you, right? So I think that would be the more convenient path for Phoenix in that situation. Do you want to catch them in a March Madness kind of situation in April where all they have to do is win 2 games and then they're in at the 7? I think that if they're playing strong and they do get to 10, all bets are off in terms of that. I'll take the Suns roster over just about anybody if they're healthy at 7, 8, 9, and 10 for a 1-game scenario. Now, in a series, the Suns are done. They're toast. But in a 1-game scenario, could they win the 9, 10 and then go play the 7, 8 loser? Loser to get, well, they couldn't get 7, right? They would only get 8.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I said all that to say I was wrong. They can only get 8 if they're going
I was going to say, if they're the 9, 10, they would be destined to, and there's, that's
so
a
hell
heavy
no.
lift.
Go back to hell no.
Yeah, I think
go
we're
back to
on the
hell no.
no.
Edit everything else I said from the hell no.
But
and
I
then
would,
let's start right here.
I would love it from a, let's just, for right now, if it was Clippers, Timberwolves, and Clippers beat the Timberwolves in the 7-8 game, and then the Timberwolves had to play the Suns, sign me up for an Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant play-in game. Like, I don't think you could get a better thing going. From a television show standpoint, I would be all in on that. But yes, it's
I'm
a
with
hell
you
no
on
on
that.
the
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
Would
the
you
only
take a Thunder
vulnerable team
sweep in that series? I would.
Oh,
I
for
would.
for sure. Now, if I'm the Thunder, I don't know if I want to see the Clippers in a 1-8. Like, Clippers are just dangerous enough where you don't want to mess around with them because they're healthy and they can defend as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is the fun time of year, Mike. 3 weeks left. We'll catch up with you. We'll see you back when the Grizzlies are home on Saturday when they take on the
quick
Los
question
Angeles
though.
Lakers.
I know y'all usually shift to the Tigers at this point. How do you grade the Tiger season overall? Where do you fall? Because I've struggled with that.
We're grading.
Grading. What'd you give them?
I'm a nice
both of you guys. What'd you give them?
I'm a nice teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm what's wrong with American society. I'm giving them a solid B.
Oh, no wonder Linda McMahon wants to get rid of the Department of Education.
I'm giving them a solid B. Listen, I think if we're not sitting in a place of like respect for what was done, I get it. Your end result, you failed your final test. And I wouldn't say you failed. It's not like you got blown out by a 12 seed, but you underperformed on your final test at the end of the year. And I'll make it a B- for that standpoint, because if your ultimate goal was to make it to the second weekend of the tournament, which it always was, always has been, will always be stated until eventually they are back in a Sweet 16. It is 16 years and counting. Those aren't Sweet 16 years. Those are 16 long, drought-filled years where they are not going to the Sweet 16. However, you were without your starting point guard. You were without your backup point guard. There are legitimate excuses tied to underperforming in the first round of the tournament. And when you look at the collective of winning the AAC, that's the first time they've done it. Like, you can't say that you're the best team in the AAC if you don't win the AAC regular season title. They do that. They win the conference championship. Those things happened. Those are real, tangible results that came from this season. So that's my long-winded answer. CJ, what's your grade? I don't even want to know.
A C.
Oh, that's way better than I thought.
I was doing the math here. So you get an A for winning your regular season. You get an A for winning your tournament. And so I count those as 0.25% of the grade.
That's nice.
All right. So half of the grade is an A. So that gives you 2 points right there. And then the other half is what you do in the tournament. Losing in the first round is a D. So I have to multiply that 2 by 0.5 to get another 1. So you add them all together and then you divide. You end up with a 75 overall grade. And that 75 is a solid C.
I'm bad at math, so my math would have led me to like a 79.5, and I'm a rounder upper.
Oh,
there you go. And you know what's great is that I fall right between you two. I give them a C+. Like, I'm on a plus minus scale. I give them a C+. They met expectations by winning the conference, both in the regular season and in the conference tournament. They fell well short of expectations by losing in the 5. But all year long, you talked about how even the prognosticators projected them to get a higher, a 7, 8 kind of seed. They got a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't lose 5-12 having a halftime lead and fading down the stretch. It just left a bad taste. So I give them a C+ because they met the expectation in the regular season and fell short of it in the postseason. But I do think it's encouraging. You can try to build off of this season from next time.
Back to the transfer portal. Did you see
Again, I'm a traditionalist with college sports. That doesn't mean I don't want to pay the players, figure out a way to do it. But I think that's ruining. The game, man. It's a different game completely now. Just go ahead and separate the academic aspect of it. And
wait
just
until
let them
after the tournament. My God.
Yeah,
Can we not shift this? And the same goes for college football, because all the college football people are like, oh, we deal with this. Yeah, it's wrong in both. It's wrong that the playoff is going on and the transfer portal is open. It's wrong that March Madness is going on and the transfer portal has opened. Mike,
I think you get one transfer. I think you should get one transfer, and I think you should get a 5th season. And if you do that, you meet both sides, and just play it out from that standpoint.
Or if you are an employee, you have a contract. And if you break a contract, then you have to figure out the repercussions for that. But again, that goes into the payment structure of it. So if you want to finally recognize that these student athletes are athletes first, student second, and are actually employees of a university, then you can limit the transfers. I don't understand why that is so difficult for so many people to grasp, but I think that's an easy.
We figured it out. We figured it out. So we I don't know if we figured out the Grizzlies, but we figured out the NCAA conundrum as it relates to the transfer portal.
Look at us solving world problems one at a time. Mike, we'll catch up with you later. Thanks for joining us.
All right, see you guys later. All right.
Those birthday balloons are holding on for dear life. I love a birthday balloon on a chair. I keep mine on until the bitter end, until it's hanging limply off to the floor.
Love when things hang limply.
I knew, God, set up for that one. Will Coleman's going to join us in the next segment. We'll get his take on Memphis's loss to Colorado State, what he would grade this season for the Tigers, his thoughts on the tournament thus far. All of that with Will after a quick break.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Grammy, Academy, and Golden Globe award-winning superstar, Mary J. Blige, live in Memphis. The For My Fans Tour, live at FedEx Forum Saturday, April 19th, with special guests Neo and Mario. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The iconic Mary J. Blige for one night only.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item, whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
We are in March, which is Women's History Month.
True.
And we were talking about how do we kick off the show? What can we talk about? And we were like, why don't we talk about women's shoes? The Sabrina one. Okay.
Can't go wrong.
Right?
That's a good shoe.
And the two, you could argue, is even better. But the one's
you can't
fine.
have the two without the one.
Yeah.
Though.
In the month of February, the Sabrina 2 was the second most worn shoe in the NBA in minutes played.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
You've coached a lot of different versions of the SEC, and obviously there's never been one deeper than this. What's it like been coaching in this?
The reason for the league being so good is the commitment. Commitment to coaching, commitment to facilities, commitment to the NIL across the board. There is not anybody in our league that's not investing in all those things.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We are back. As you can see, Will Coleman's seat is empty. Do you think he saw the Tigers lose and thought he was done?
Yeah. And if you had a producer that was worth his weight in anything,
that's what you would have done.
He would have reached out and been like, "Hey, don't forget, still got you this week."
I think Will would have given them a B too. Not like a copying my homework B, but a fair and balanced B.
I'll call him and ask him.
Are you gonna call him?
I'll call him and ask him.
Okay, you call him.
When he gets on, I'll let you know.
Thanks.
No
I'm sad. I thought maybe he'd bring us like sad treats. No.
Hey, Will.
What's up?
Hey, you're on air. I'm sorry. I forgot to tell. I thought you knew that you were supposed to come in today. That's on me. You're going to join us through March Madness, though, all right? So next week, we expect you here, okay?
Okay.
Wow, behind the curtain.
Okay, cool.
Real quick, because we were just grading the Tiger season, I gave them a 75 initially, but then I gave them extra credit points because Penny Hardaway won American Coach of the Year and because PJ Haggerty was an All-American. So they got 2 extra credit points from me. So that ends up with a 77. So they got a solid C. Jessica gave them a C+, but then rounded up to a B- because of those 2 factors as well. What is your grade for the Tigers?
I'm the same in that same category, in that same area, simply because there's so many different ways to look at it. You can look at it from a fan's point of view, you can look at it from a coaching, or you can look at it from a player's. And for me, playing, being in that environment and playing, we go into a game like this. Now, obviously, you walk into the tournament and you don't know who's going to go down with injury and you don't know what's going to happen with your team. But, I say that to say this, and I made a Facebook post about it the other day. And we hear it all the time. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Obviously, a Koji wasn't brought in to be a scorer, but the inability of a Koji not being able to hit that outside shot or Nick not hitting from the outside, really, it handicapped us. And so that in itself would put us in that 75 to 80 C+ B- range, because you got to be ready for all situations when you go into a tournament or any kind of sport, because injuries happen. So you have to be willing to roll with the punches and adjust as things go on.
Will, we don't grade on a 10-point scale, dog. Like, give them a grade.
All right, I'll get him a B. I go with a B.
A solid. Okay. All right, Will. We'll see you next week.
Wait, no. Don't let him off the phone yet.
All right.
I have an important question.
Will, don't hang up.
That
Jessica
I specifically
has a question.
wanted to ask Will. I mean, I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask Will, so I won't ask you all of them. I don't care.
Okay.
We can hear the man.
All right,
Some
Will.
people can't see ever, CJ. Close your eyes. Listen to Will's beautiful voice. Will, your former coach, Josh Pastner, has a new job.
Will, your former coach, Josh Pastner, has a new job. What do you think about UNLV hiring Josh Pastner and the Tigers getting UNLV on the schedule for next year?
Man, it's hard for me because I'm a Josh Pastner fan. I will always be a Josh Pastner fan. Now, it's obvious that Josh Pastner has a love for basketball. I thought he was one hell of an analyst. But I'm happy that he's happy pursuing coaching. And I also think it'll be good. I always think that's good for for programs. Not necessarily a rivalry, but I think it's cool. I think it's fun when former coaches get to visit their former schools and play against their former schools. I think it creates a different kind of energy for a lot of people. And I think there will be a lot of positive energy and a lot of more hugs than boos when Pastner gets here. Now, if you did something like that with Kyle, it would be absolutely turmoil in the city. But I think for someone like Pastner, I think there's going to be a lot of thank yous, more thank yous and more hugs than it will be boos and negative energy when Pastner comes to town.
All right. Well, I'll let you go for now, but thank you.
Now, Will, Jessica's allowing me to hang up the phone.
Bye.
All right, bye, Will.
Spending too much time in your group chat discussing war plans rather than making sure our guests are ready to come on.
That was an odd text chain I got included in. Not really sure why I needed to know about the airstrikes that were planned, but like I knew.
I'm so nosy. I would have stayed in it. How long would you stay in a group chat that you knew you weren't supposed to be in, but that you were in?
I let people know immediately because I don't care. And the burden of knowledge is something I don't want to shoulder. So I'd rather not know. That happened to me once. I worked a job. It was a very, very stressful job. And I had a manager, so the person immediately above me and her boss and that team. So it was all the bosses that I interacted with directly, including the big boss, in a chain. And immediately they started firing off, bickering back and forth. And I was like, whoa, wait. Hey, am I supposed to be in this? And they're like, oh, no. And the person, my boss, who was popping off on somebody else, texts me outside of the group like, hey, ignore everything that was said there. You're now out of it. Don't say anything to anybody. I was like, don't you worry, because I do not want to know. They were cursing each other out. It was good stuff. I was like, no, I don't want to be in here. I don't want to know.
I've been in a crazy one before, and I will always never talk about the details of it, but I'll just say it was crazy. And I knew the second it happened, there would be a realization that I was not supposed to be on this message. And it took like 2 hours.
Wait, what was it about? And you just stayed?
Details? No, I wasn't. This wasn't a group chat. This was just a mistext. Like, do you have any bad mistext, like where you thought you were texting someone else, but you texted, like I'll text someone that I love them and I'm like, oops, that was for Chris. But this was like an all-timer.
There are a lot of Courtneys and my thumbs are fat. So sometimes I'm texting a Courtney and I need it to be the right Courtney, not the wrong Courtney, because I send wild stuff to the wrong Courtney or to the right Courtney. I don't want that to get out. One time somebody texted me about like some lawn care services.
Oh.
I was like, no. I Googled it. I was like, no, that's not what I do. I'm a dumbass producer. But here are lawn care services in your area. Text me back when you find one that you like. And so, yeah, we had a nice little...
That's so nice of you.
Have you done the whole... one, like your phone number neighbor? Have you texted your neighbor? Up one number, down one number?
No.
So like I would text.
Like, I'm not saying you almost got me.
So 36. My number ends with 36.
Yeah.
So I would text 37 and 35.
No, I've never
and just
done
see
that.
what they're like, if they're doing okay.
I've never done that.
Yeah. That's some good stuff to do. Maybe
anyway,
that's what
back to the message. I would have stayed in it.
You would have?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to know government secrets. My fear
with
with knowing government secrets is they come and kill me.
That's true. I take it back. I'm out immediately. I've seen a lot of people come down on the guy for not being a capital J journalist and staying in the group text and being like, think of all the things that you could have uncovered. But I'm with you. The more you find out, the more you could be at risk. Like, what if... I don't know the exact legalities. Take me back to my journalism ethics class. But I think journalism ethics would tell you eventually... you would need to report that you were.
But why would you need to report that? It's
a
source.
They put you in it.
It's a source at that point.
It's on them.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted him in it.
If I'm sitting at a restaurant, and tell me the ethics on this, I'm sitting at a restaurant.
And you're overhearing a conversation?
Not overhearing. They are loudly conversing at the table next to me on speakerphone. So somebody is sitting at the table next to me, and they're on speakerphone. I can report that ethically because very clearly you don't give a damn about who knows.
I agree. I sat next to a family yesterday I know their entire life.
Turn up.
They have a house in Aspen. I was like, what did I do wrong in this world?
Did you ask them?
No.
Okay.
But I was just listening to, and then they were like, do you think, this wasn't a family, this was a group of kids, and by kids, like college-aged students.
Young adults.
But sitting in the Delta Lounge, so young adults by themselves,
House in
planning
Aspen.
a trip to Japan, house in Aspen, and then at one point she goes, I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my life. Do you think it pays to be a physical therapist? I was like, what are we doing here? It was crazy. I'm not, and like my problem is when I'm listening to these conversations, I'm texting Chris everything. Chris might as well be with me listening to these people's conversations. You are not safe. If you are around me, I am listening to you. I love to listen to people. So I would love to be in a group text and take all that information.
Would you text Chris and put his life in jeopardy as well?
Yes,
like, oh my
we're
God,
going down together.
I'm in the White House chat, and they're talking about blowing this up right here, Chris.
I would have a paper trail. They'd be like, well, actually, you're in the wrong because you shared the government secrets with your husband. I'm just relaying the information that I got in this situation.
No spousal confidentiality agreement?
I think you should have it. If you have it in a murder trial, you should have it in government secrets. Like, come on.
How absurd is that?
It's just basic law.
How absurd is that?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Did you see, we'll talk about it on TV Tuesday. On the Pastner front, I do think it's hysterical that UNLV hired Josh Pastner, who at like 5 o'clock yesterday was on television, and they hired Dan Mullen, who before they hired him had carved out his life as an analyst on ESPN. So two prominent rising voices in the television space taken back and thrust into the coaching world.
Pastner was good on TV.
Mullen was good on TV. Mullen's entertaining. I've always found Dan Mullen really entertaining.
Okay. I don't know why Pastner would leave TV. He's not
because
he's
these people just want to coach.
Not a good coach.
It's in the solar plexus of their soul.
All right. Well, work at ESPN and coach a high school team or something like that.
I'm telling you, it's something with
like you don't need like this. I enjoy Josh Pastner on TV. I think he is one of the few college coaches and the few people of this world who is truly him. Right?
Yes.
He is authentic, it seems, in all the stories that I've heard about. Is like, okay, yeah, no, this is a real version of what Josh Pastner is. He's not putting on a front. He's not imitating or mimicking anybody else. He's being his true, authentic self. I'm not sure how good of a coach that he is. In fact, I know he's not that good of a coach. He's a phenomenal analyst. So why not be the thing you're best at? It's college basketball from
your
an
dreams
analytical
can change.
Yes.
And they should. Like for the rest of us, dreams can change.
Yes.
And you can realize, hey, I'm really good at this.
Yes.
I'm thriving in this space. But there's just something about the life of a coach that pulls you back in time and time and time and time and time again. And now it's happened to Josh Pastner. Okay. So we shall see. It is fun that they play Memphis next year. Transfer portal obviously up and running. You got the situation. Will PJ Haggerty return to Memphis? It's about the money. It's always been about the money. It's really about the money right now. So we will see what the going rate is for PJ Haggerty and what some of these players look like. I mean, when you look at how the Sweet 16 panned out for the men's and women's side of things, like it's schools with a lot of money. It's power programs. We talked yesterday. This is the first time that you have just 4 conferences represented in the Sweet 16. Is that a one-off or is that a trend for what's to come in the future? Yes, CJ.
There's a gentleman's agreement being made over here. I apologize.
Okay.
Your director is telling me that Pastner is a good coach. He immediately goes to the ACC tournament championship that Pastner won at
Was that
Georgia
the year he was
Tech.
coach of the year?
Was he coach of the year?
He was coach of the
ACC?
year. Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's telling me that what is it exactly, Jacob? 3 Yes. He has 3 years to make the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
And I'm telling him that in 3 years he won't be at UNLV. So that is so at the end of year 3. So I guess he won't get a 4th year at UNLV is what I'm saying. So those are the competing wagers.
Well, I think it's interesting too because UNLV is still hanging out in the Mountain West. UNLV still hasn't joined that group of teams going to the Pac-12 because that was the kind of like the partnership was of UNLV and Memphis. If they were both gonna go. And then Texas State somehow ends up in there because, God, everybody wants land in Texas in this college sports universe. But that will play a part in like where UNLV is in the ecosystem of college basketball. Are they in a Mountain West where they're dominating the Mountain West and they're the auto bid out of the Mountain West? Or are they in like an uber competitive Pac-12 that has somehow risen, not somehow, that has done what is expected to be and risen into a formidable yearly conference in college basketball? We'll find out. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back. It's TV Tuesday. God, I'm behind on everything. There's nothing worse than TV Tuesday rolling around, and I haven't watched the Severance finale, and I haven't watched White Lotus from last night, and I've only watched one episode of this Adolescence show on Netflix, but I'm going to tell you about it because it's a wild ride. CJ watched the Spiderman show. He told me to not forget to tell him to talk about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You're welcome. You're welcome. And some massive reality, perhaps the biggest reality television news that we have had in years, in a decade. It's gonna be big. Who is expected to join the Traitors cast next when we come back?
Pastner's got a losing record in the ACC. What are we doing, Jacob?
I'm not.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger buzzer beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for when I was in Portland. You had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about those. You got to talk about triple.
You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, TA.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock,
they knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
This team is doing everything that Taylor Jenkins and his coaching staff envisioned it could do.
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Welcome back. So somehow during the break, we got on the conversation of well, not somehow, carrying over the conversation from the last segment of who are the new Mountain West members when the new members of the Pac-12 join in 2026. And one of the full members of the Mountain West is UC Davis. And so we were talking about UC Davis football, of which Jacob let us know UC Davis football has been really good. Just like Josh Pastner, he claims, is a really good coach. And I just want you to know that the version of really good in NCAA Division 1AA, which is FCS ranks for UC Davis, they did make it to the quarterfinals of the 2024 playoffs. They made it to the first round of the 2021 playoffs and the quarterfinals of the 2018 playoffs. That's it. That's their postseason experience at UC Davis. However, my point of this was I was looking around the past coaches at UC Davis, and one of them was Dan Hawkins, who was the coach at Boise State before they kind of, like, as they were on their rise up. Then he left Boise State for Colorado, ultimately did not succeed at Colorado, took a buyout. So I'm looking at his Wikipedia bio, and it says he goes into broadcasting. And I remembered he served as a college football analyst at ESPN from 2011 to 2016. And you want to know what he did after that? What? Got back into coaching, because nobody can just be happy being an analyst in this world. You always have to get back into the coaching side of things.
It's like it's a feeder system, like a farm system for prospective, like new coaching hires. You know, you go, you get fired because you do a terrible job. You get on TV where you get to play Monday morning quarterback all the damn time, and people begin to believe, oh, this guy might have something in the tank after all. Let's bring him in here, and then you get hired, and then you do another terrible job, and that's okay because you get fired, but you go right back to the analyst gig, and you can keep doing that. Josh Pastner, by the way, had a losing record every year he was in the ACC, except for one, which was the NIT run that they went on when he won Coach of the Year. So
we will see how it goes. I should have said I also haven't watched the latest episode of The Pit.
My wife has started The Pit.
Luke started The Pit, and he was like texting me before he got to the really sad episode, like one of the saddest episodes of television that I have ever watched. And he agreed it was one of the saddest episodes of television that's been created in the last couple of years. There's also that new Shonda Rhimes show. There's a lot of shows right now, and I think this is the portion of the show where Chris is no longer watching, so I can safely say this. I did watch 2 episodes of the new Shonda Rhimes show, The Residents, on Netflix, but Chris can't know that because I'm going to have to rewatch the first 2 episodes with him, but I watched 2 episodes with my mom while I was in Seattle. It's great. It like takes me back to the scandal, How to Get Away with Murder. It's Uzo, I always forget her last name, but from Orange is the New Black. She's such a good actress. She won an Emmy for Orange is the New Black, and she plays a detective who comes in, and it's great. It's like her and a bunch of dudes, and she constantly calls out that it's her and a bunch of dudes, but there's been a murder at the White House residence. And I really hope that this turns into like a long-time series where this character, because you know how we have, I mean, detective anthologies, Sherlock Holmes, the
Bruce
one
Wayne.
Knives Out, if this character could then go investigate murders at all different kinds of
Agatha
political residencies, I'd love that. Murder, She Wrote. God, I love Jessica Fletcher forever and always. My mom at one point, I was trying to tell her like what's on TV right now, and she watches pretty much everything that I tell her to watch. But I said Severance is really confusing, and I don't know if she would be a super big fan of it right now. And then I was talking about this new Adolescence show on Netflix that's kind of a hot show of the moment. It's a limited series about a boy who kills one of his classmates. It's all done in one shot, which is such an interesting viewing experience. So like the camera never cuts. There are no cuts in the entire show. It is a throughway of the camera moving, or at one point it's like a drone to get you from place to place, to get from the house where an investigation is occurring to the police station. But I was telling her the plot, and she goes, God, everything is just so negative these days. Like every show is just so sad or violent or about these horrible stories. What happened to the days of Murder, She Wrote? She's like, we used to have crimes, but they were done in such a wholesome way. It's like, what are you talking about?
I feel her. I agree with her. We have gotten way too dark in some of our stories.
So you agree?
Yeah. Most of the shows that people think are good, I don't consume.
Yeah.
I don't watch because like, yo, that's way too serious for what I want to do with my life. I don't need everything to be dark and edgy. You can tell really good stories and stories about crime without making it so damn dire. Now, I will say, Adolescence, it was about this time last year when you're like, hey, you need to watch Baby Reindeer.
Did you start it?
No.
Oh.
Have you?
Adolescence?
Yes.
We watched the first episode.
Okay. As you matriculate through Adolescence,
Yeah.
I am intrigued to get your thoughts. Because you like, I'm watching that new show on Netflix, Baby Reindeer. I was like, okay, whatever. And you're like, no, I binged it. I finished it. And you need to make it to this episode before you decide to stop watching. And I loved
that show.
Baby Reindeer.
I think this new one's only 6 episodes.
Baby
so
Reindeer
similar.
wasn't that long.
That was my like. It's a short series. I saw somebody describe it as like the most important, or feels important watching it since this show called Unbelievable that came out on Netflix. At this point, I think that was pre-COVID, but it was about a teenage girl who ends up being charged for lying about rape, and just really well done. Really like horrible, sad, one of those shows that makes you cry, but makes you think aggressively as well, and how we come around to who gets believed and how stories end up being interpreted by greater society, and as they get notoriety and into the press and all of that, and how women often aren't listened to is the bottom line. Happy Women's History Month, everyone. But that's how Adolescence, I guess, is similarly supposed to be. I think it's about an incel, is what like someone who gets red-pilled.
All of the discourse is red-pilled means.
Like, to hate women. Red pill can mean a variety of things, but I think in this case, it's corners of the internet where you believe all women are bad.
I'm confused in this analogy. Red pill, blue pill. What is the blue pill then?
I don't know.
Okay, so
blue pill means that I'm not gonna go there. Never mind.
There's a little blue pill. So that's what I've heard. All the discourses surrounding how boys end up into some of those parts of the internet universe, and then the algorithm just feeds them all of this sexist stuff. What's up?
Okay. Red pill and blue pill are metaphorical terms representing a choice between learning an unsettling or life-changing truth by taking the red pill, or remaining in the contented experience of the ordinary reality with the blue pill. So it comes from the Matrix.
I know where it comes from.
I thought it existed before the Matrix. I thought this was terminology that then gets picked up by the Matrix and becomes that piece of it. However, what it has turned into now is being red-pilled means believing concepts like male oppression and female hypergamy.
Okay.
I don't know what hypergamy is.
I guarantee you it's something stupid.
The act of marrying or dating someone perceived as having a higher social status, wealth, or power than oneself. It's like all women are gold diggers.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yes.
But the
and
thoughts.
That's what you missed on Glee.
The thoughts of like not just that, but the thought that it's 80% of women. What was it? 80% of women are only attracted to 20% of dudes.
Yeah.
All right. It's just like, okay, you guys are you're losers. Like you just can't bag them. I don't know what to tell you. That's not because there's something wrong with your attractiveness. There's something wrong with you as a person. Mm-hmm. But boys end up on, to the original thought, boys end up on that part of the internet, and then the algorithm feeds them this information, and then boom, stuff pops off. It was something, a school shooting. We didn't talk about it because who talks about school shootings anymore? They happen all the damn time now. The Antioch school shooting that happened a while back, it was some of that in there where he targeted 2 girls, and he had fallen into that corner of the internet. This was a black boy also, which how the hell you fall into that is, I don't understand, but fell into that part of the internet universe, became an incel or a chanter. I don't know what we call those damn people. And then boom, violence immediately erupts, and it's violence on little girls and would be violence on women as well. So I'm intrigued enough about the topic because I really don't understand how you as a dude fall into this, a young man, a boy, fall into this line of thinking to where the Tates all of a sudden become your idols. I don't get how that happens. And so if this show can explain it to me, I'm down to sit down and watch it.
We'll continue this conversation on Theater Thursday because as I was watching Basketball on the Point yesterday, I ripped through a play. It's called John Proctor is the Villain, and it's a response to The Crucible. And did you ever have to read The Crucible?
I'm sure I did. I didn't.
Right. We'll get into it on Thursday, but just the idea of like how the patriarchy has molded the stories and the way that, again, back to who tells the stories, who is considered the good guy, who is considered the hero of a story. And when you look back on it, you're like, I don't know. And then ultimately one day, maybe you get into incel corner of the internet. I don't know. Feels like it could be connected. You wanted to talk about Spider-Man, and I want to make sure that you have the appropriate space to talk about Spider-Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So good. So very, very good. Jessica, there's crime in this, but guess what? Nothing too heavy. Somebody ends up with so much talent, so much potential, end up dropping out of school, right? Like there's serious topics going on in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and they do it in a really, really bright, comic booky way. There are shots in this TV show, and I'm like, oh, they could have pulled this. They probably pulled this directly from a comic. It's so good, so fun, so entertaining. We all know the story of Peter Parker, gets bit by a spider, becomes Spider-Man. You got to find a way to bring out different qualities that you want to highlight. And I think in this one, Peter's a freshman in high school, right? And they bring out the youthfulness, not just in being a young person who's trying to balance the relationships between family, friends, and obligation, but also he's young in this one in his crime-fighting career. He hadn't been Spider-Man for very, very long. He's got these powers. He wants to be helpful. He feels a duty to be helpful, but now everybody's getting more supercharged and super villains, and those types of things are starting to pop up as well. So now this kid with this immense power has to fight these grown-ass superpowered villains. But not all of them all at once. They did a masterful job of introducing the villains. Like they don't just pop out on screen. It's like, oh, I know exactly who that villain is, and this is what he's gonna do next. No, there's backstory, not just for Spider-Man, but for Osborn, both Osborns, for Dr. Octavius as well. I don't want to give you all of the villains because maybe you don't know about all of them, but there is a ton of background on
Coleman
them
Domingo.
in really, really fun ways. Coleman is he Osborn?
Yeah.
I knew that voice sounded familiar. They've got the animation is superb. The storytelling is great. You get appearances from notable superheroes that you know. More importantly, you're getting these appearances from superheroes who have been superheroes for much, much longer than Peter has. And one of the things that Peter Parker looks for and seeks, because he's so young, is guidance. And the way that they show you how having the wrong mentor or following the wrong leader can lend itself to you doing things that you really don't want to do because you're not aware of it. So very, very good. In the movies, Tony Stark is that role model for Peter Parker. Well, in the TV animated series right now, in your friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man, somebody completely different. So while you get appearances from, like, I'll say Strange. I don't want to give too much away. But while you get appearances from like a Doctor Strange type of character, he's not sticking around to guide Peter Parker. And even in the last Spider-Man movie that Marvel had, No Way Home, Doctor Strange kind of served as that surrogate mentor for a while for Peter Parker in that one. He's not there doing the same thing in this iteration of Spider-Man. I loved every bit of it. It's terrific. The action scenes are great. You've got the cool suits. You've got the cool villains. You've got a great backstory, a story where it's like, oh, it pulls at your heartstrings, not from a superhero standpoint, but from a humanity standpoint. Because I know dudes who had so much potential in high school, like one of the good kids in class, not necessarily the best student, but willing to learn, somebody who was a standout athlete, and to see that character on screen and to see what that character ends up going through, it's like, oh, don't make that decision as gang violence ends up taking over and now you're going to go join the gang and not go to practice. Like, you could have been in college now. So yeah, it's good. I loved every minute of it. I give it like a 9 out of 10. It's superb.
So how do we talk about this Spider-Man in correlation with the other? Like, do we have to start counting this in the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Okay, so this will now.
Yes, but
like I count Miles Morales
as a Spider-Man.
As a Spider-Man.
Yeah. You know, we've got multiple dimensions. That's why we're able to continue to
Toby,
tell the same.
We have Andrew. We have Tom.
We can tell the same story. We can tell We can use the same characters to tell
Correct.
different stories because while they all exist in their own universes.
Yes.
All
but
right,
so far,
so
I've
this is-
seen all the Spider-Mans. So if
Yes.
I want to stay Spider-Man current, I have to watch Your Friendly Neighbor Spider-Man.
Yes, and you'll enjoy it thoroughly.
And what's it on again?
It's on the Disney Plus.
Oh, good.
And it's so the direct relation so far is none, right? I don't
But
think
it
this
could.
I don't think this version of it can't because Sony owns the Miles Morales Spider-Verse. Right? So this version of Spider-Man is never going to meet Miles Morales.
Never say never.
Disney might
comes
buy
for
him.
everyone.
Disney might buy him.
Please.
But as of right now,
Can you tell me Disney has Anastasia now? That just
Yes.
blew my mind.
as of now, this version of Spider-Man is not going to meet the Sony Spider-Verse version
Okay.
of Spider-Man, right? Like that they exist two different things. You're confused. Everything has it. There's a Jessica.
Which Spider?
Which Spider what?
Wait. Okay. Into the Spider-Verse, Sony.
Yes.
But the other Spider-Man,
Are now Disney.
Disney. Okay, and that's why that Spider-Man is in, like, the Avengers.
Yes.
Okay.
At
And
one
that's why
point-
that
so
Spider-Man is with Tony Stark.
At one point in time, Marvel was going to lose a bunch of money going to file for bankruptcy.
Okay.
They said, hey, Fox, we'll sell some stuff to you. We'll sell our whole catalog to you to do with it what you want. You pay us.
Okay.
Fox looked around and said, nah, we don't need the whole catalog because everything else you do sucks. Thor's not good. Don't really need Hulk. Don't really want Iron Man or Captain America or whatever else you have. We will take X-Men and Spider-Man.
Okay.
And so Fox had those. All right, so Fox had X-Men and Spider-Man. Marvel decided, okay, let's experiment and do some movies. Let's do that. Disney decided, okay, let's do some superhero movies. Iron Man was successful. Captain America was successful. Thor was successful as well. And they said, hey, we might have something here. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. And those got really, really good. They started bringing in characters nobody really knew or the non-comic book reader knew. They started bringing in Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, right? We didn't hear about those types of characters until right now. And they had existed since the 60s and the 70s, right? We didn't hear about them. And those movies popped off. It's like, holy hell, this is good. We got to throw Spider-Man in here. And Fox said, no, you don't. We've got Spider-Man. Okay. And they said, okay, we'll rent them from you. And then so Disney rented Spider-Man, that Peter Parker, to put in the Avengers movie, right? With the airplane fight scene and all of that. And then Disney just ended up buying Fox outright, which makes, spoiler alert, what Deadpool is so great. Why it's one of the great movies? Because there were all these other Fox properties that existed outside of the MCU that the movie Deadpool brings into the MCU. Right? Disney buys Fox, gets Elektra, gets Blade, gets Fantastic Four, gets all of these former Fox properties. It's like, okay, X-Men, how do we bring these characters over here into our storytelling? We'll use Deadpool. Why the hell not? And Deadpool does a masterful job of doing that, and the way they do it ties in the timeline and the different universes and all of that type stuff.
Okay.
So
I know this is crazy. The only way that I used to be able to keep track was those rides at Island of Adventures in Universal Studios. And so it has always confused me, the Disney partnership, but those rides remain. So if you go to Universal Studios, which is obviously not Disneyland, Disney World, you get the Incredible Hulk coaster. You get the X-Men
Universal
rides.
has Hulk.
So in 1994, Marvel Entertainment Group signed a contract to license Marvel characters to MCA Recreation Services, which is the predecessor to Universal Destinations and Experiences. So that is how they land the Islands of Adventure, Marvel Superhero Island, and they have the Spider-Man ride, they have the Hulk coaster, they have Spider-Man, Captain America, X-Men walk around as character meetings, and that continues to exist. And I think that's in perpetuity, but similarly, like the Simpsons are at Universal Parks, but according to this article,
Disney has that.
No, do they?
Disney has Simpsons. Yeah.
Well,
Disney
the deal
has
that
Fox.
Universal signed with Fox reportedly expires in 2028. So there is some question on if the Simpsons part of the universe can't have our theme parks. I know you have a meeting.
Oh shoot!
We got to get you to your meeting really quick. There are rumors that one of the greatest reality television characters of all time is joining the next season of The Traitors. You know I fell in head over heels in love with The Traitors this season. It is my one and only reality television show, and they are claiming, and by they, the powers that be on the internet, are saying that New York is going to be on the next season of The Traitors, and I cannot think of a better personality to be on The Traitors, and I swear, if they vote her off early, because that's what it feels like she's the kind of personality that they're immediately like, traitor, you're out. No, don't do that. Please keep New York along for the ride, please. And they say Nene Leakes might be on it too. And that takes me back. Like we're giving me characters I care about in the reality universe. Like I don't do the whole Bravo thing, and I know Nene is in that space now, but like for me, this means something to me. Throw Omarosa in that group.
Wasn't Nene always a Bravo thing?
Was she?
Yeah, Housewives
I
of
knew Nene
Atlanta.
from something else. No, I knew Nene before Housewives of Atlanta.
You did?
Yes. And I cannot remember for the life of me what it would have been from. Let's see. Celebrity Apprentice and Dancing with the Stars.
She's a celebrity.
Apprentice.
She's a celebrity because of Real Housewives of Atlanta, isn't she?
Well, she was also in... Is that what she was first in?
Yeah, like the only reason to know Nene is because of Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Really?
I
think you're
almost
right.
1,000% sure, yeah.
Well, she was a stripper in The Fighting Temptations, which I did love The Fighting Temptations with Cuba and Beyonce. But I wouldn't have known her as a stripper.
No. Like she was
actually,
just...
all of her scenes didn't make the final cut.
Exactly.
That's tough.
Exactly.
That's tough. Well, she's a great personality. There's another one on Housewives that I thought I knew outside of Housewives, Dorinda. I just assumed I knew her from something else. No, it's just Housewives. So I consume Housewives adjacent content without actually watching the Housewives. But I know these people. I want them on the show. Give me Lisa Rinna on the show too. Oh, now we're really talking. You don't even know who that is.
No
All right. Everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday. Grizzlies game day, 8 p.m. tip. Grizzlies Jazz. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We're doing highlights tomorrow morning. We'll have reactions from the win. We'll catch up with D'Angelo Williams. Who knows what else we'll get into. We'll see you then. Bye.
I think you would like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I like the Spider-Verse.
It's not that.
No, but I mean, I don't mean, I guess I'm not using Spider. I like Spider-Man. I like the story. I like the characters. I think